Did you always believe that even through those bumps, you'd be able to, did you still visualize getting to this point?
1,000%. But you know, this season is such a marathon, and we do our best to try to give more colorful sound bites throughout the year on what that process looks like. But at the end of the day, you can't rush it, you can't fast forward, and just definitely was the vision. I think some of those speed bumps kind of made us appreciate the difference in this team in terms of, I call it, I guess, the versatility. We had a lot of different guys play a lot of different roles, and we just wanted to get to the playoffs in one piece as much as possible and give ourselves the best chance. And somehow we obviously made it through this run with some injuries, but for the most part, you know, the vision of getting here never faded, ever.
All right, Caesars Sportsbook currently has the Warriors as a slight favorite to win this series. Game 1, as I mentioned, Thursday in San Francisco, where Golden State is a 3.5-point favorite. JJ, I'll start with you. Who should be the favorite in this finals?
You know, it's really interesting. ESPN's own projections, BPI, has the Warriors with a 14% chance of winning this series, the Celtics an 86% chance, and I tend to lean more towards that. And I think this series comes down to the Celtics defense. And this is a defense that was first in the NBA in the regular season in switching frequency. They were second so far in the playoffs in switching frequency. And in some ways, this defense is built similar to how the Houston Rockets were built in 17 and 18 when they went against the Golden State Warriors, and they switched everything, and they built that defense specifically to take away all that off-ball movement. And I think about, especially their starting five with Robert Williams, Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Like, there's no weak points to attack. And you go back throughout this playoff run for Golden State, they had Luka Doncic they could attack for Dallas, and they had a lot of success with that. There were times that they elected to blitz Steph Curry, and they went 4-on-3, and they scored about 60% of the time on that. You go back to the Nuggets series, they had Jokic all the way up in pick and rolls, and they went 4-on-3 and just tore them apart. I don't think the Boston Celtics, at times maybe they will be doubling Steph, but I don't think they're going to have to build an entire game plan around doubling when their inherent defense that they've run all season is to switch things, and they have the personnel to do it.
I feel you on that. To answer the question directly, I think the Golden State Warriors should be the favorites. I'm looking at Steph Curry. I'm looking at Klay Thompson. I'm looking at Jordan Poole. All of them are shooting at least 38% from three-point range, and I think that that's the difference between them and a team like the Miami Heat, per se. That's what I'm looking at right now. I recognize the fact that the Boston Celtics defense is elite. Make no mistake about it. They can win this series. I'm not of the mindset that the Golden State Warriors are the clear favorites and there's no way on earth, whether it's 5 or 6 games, Boston is going home. I think this is literally a pick-em series. I'm just rolling with the Warriors. I'm not jumping off of that ship. And I think because of their experience and their sharpshooting ability, I think that's what stands out above the crowd. I got to also take into account the elevation of Andrew Wiggins during these playoffs from a defensive standpoint, particularly the job that he did against Luka Doncic, even though Doncic got his numbers-wise and what have you. Obviously, it was a tough set.
Can I just interrupt real quick? Because I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to bring this point up. Just so we're clear, Luka shot 51% against Andrew Wiggins when he was the primary defender. All right, keep going.
I'm fully aware of that, and I'm glad you tried to interrupt to make your point. My point to you is that when you look at
I'm just saying is if I'm guarding someone and they're shooting 51%, that's good defense.
Well, again, I'm not saying.
I'm just.
Well, let me respond.
No, I'm going to the bench if that happens. I can tell you that right now.
You're going to the bench because not only would they score with efficiency, but they would score with quickness. When you look at Luka Doncic and how he was guarded. You look at the Golden State Warriors and what everybody was talking about, what Andrew Wiggins brings to the table. Yes, you shot 51% from the field as a primary defender. Luka Doncic is a special dude. But in the same breath, I recall somebody, when you're sticking them, you could score at will. And then there are other times when it might take you 10, 15 seconds, and it might disrupt the flow of your offense. You might get yours, but the negative effect that it have on the pieces around you may ultimately prove to be fatal.
Yeah, but I did. Hold on. I know what you're saying, and you're making a good point. I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish.
Exactly. Because if I'm making a good point, then why are you interrupting me?
I'll let you finish. But I'm coming back to that, Stephen. I'm going to give Perkins a chance, too. I'm coming back to that.
All right, well, you do that. My point is that we see opposing defenses all the time say, This dude is going to get his no matter what. But if it can somehow have a negative effect on the pieces around him, we got him. I think that Boston has not one but two players that can do that can nullify that. But nevertheless, my faith still rides with the experience of the Golden State Warriors. And that's why they are my favorites. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.